Good afternoon. Are you happy with your body? Why is it that so many people who exercise and watch what they eat, do all the right things to be healthy and fit and to look good and feel good, often still suffer from a deep dissatisfaction with their appearance? And they suffer from a boredom with their exercise routines, and many of them carry a general malaise about their lives. And despite spending lots of time, money, and energy doing the things that are supposedly going to make them look good and feel good, they still come up short at the end of the day sometimes. Well, I'd like to share with you some ideas for your consideration that might help you to have a different perspective on your life and, by extension, on your happiness. And I'll use the 4 aspects of the rhetorical situation along with 5 simple ideas or considerations for you to look at your health and your wellness from a different point of view to maybe take it to another level. And these ideas are based on the inner body or the inner energy of the body. And quoting author Eckhart Tolle in the book The Power of Now, he says of the inner energy body, he says this: the inner energy field of the body is actually the doorway to being. And that being can be a being fit, a being happy, a being whole, a being healthy. As I'm speaking to you, Penn State students, university students, you generally tend to have an open mind. Most students are open and able to take in new information and have a bit of flexibility in their thought. And even though we represent as students a large cross-section of ages, races, and geographical locations, still we share the same cultural or societal plug-in into where we get our information, mostly from the internet, cable and network TV, magazines, and so forth. So in that respect, we have a commonality. And that commonality where we get our information about health and fitness, within that commonality, we also share some of the same concerns about being healthy and staying healthy, and the same letdowns that we get from our exercise routines and not being satisfied with our appearance, and also the problems of using more drugs and chemicals to combat some of our anxieties and depression. These are things that society's tools for helping us to deal with these things, those things have let us down. So this is why I want to present to you a different take on looking at how to create your own health. And I'm using this occasion of this final speech presentation to hopefully persuade you to take that different look and to convince you that you actually have within you the ability to create your own health, despite what society's misinformation and disinformation gives to us. Now, I'm not wanting to fight what that information is. I'm not trying to go into battle word for word with it, but with my background as a holistic fitness artist, I can speak authoritatively about health and fitness and wellness as it pertains to us in America. I've been a certified personal trainer for over 10 years. I'm certified in shiatsu and group fitness exercise. I lecture at major universities. I've traveled and taught and performed in most of the major health facilities in Chicago, New York City, and also in Japan. So I have a very wide background, which also includes Oriental medicine. I'm a graduate of the Yohashi Institute, so I'm able to speak with authority and clarity on these topics. I've also worked with cancer patients, AIDS patients, and also people who suffer from emotional and psychological issues. Those are all in the realm of my expertise as a holistic fitness artist. And because of that, I am able to offer some sound ideas and solutions that can really apply to all of us who have the same commonality here in the United States. Now, these 5 simple tools, or let's call them 5 considerations, can be an opening to the doorway of being, like Eckhart Tolle says. And I'm going to enumerate them and also quote from sources that back up these ideas. The first consideration is consider learning to honestly feel and sense your inner body. And in a book called The Tao Te Ching, which is a very famous book on Chinese philosophy written by Lao Tzu, it says in chapter 23, open yourself to the Tao, or to energy. Then trust your natural responses and everything will fall into place. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, consider learning to become more aware of your breathing patterns and habits. There's a man named Dennis Lewis. He's the author of the Tao of Natural Breathing, and he's also a Taoist practitioner. And what he says in this book is this: by listening to the sensations of our body, especially our breathing, we can experience connections between parts of ourselves that ordinarily escape our everyday attention. Consideration number 3, consider reading the messages that the body gives. When you have aches or pains, you get a rash or hiccups or chills or heat flashes within the body, these are all messages that the body gives us that we often ignore. And by finding a healing arts practitioner like an acupuncturist, a Tai Chi teacher, they can tell you how to read those signs for yourself, and that can give you more self-confidence and self-awareness in creating your own health. Consideration number 4, start to choose exercises and activities that are based on what feels good or joyful to you. Now, there was a man, his name was Shizuto Masunaga. He wrote a book called Zen Imagery Exercises, and this is what he said about choosing exercise. If the exercise that you choose is not suited to the person as a whole, the chances are that the effects will not be deep or long-lasting. Only those activities undertaken in response to a deeper need to find more fulfillment in life can bring about profound and lasting changes. And the 5th consideration is somewhat akin to the 4th, and that is choose exercise and activities that will balance your life's natural polarities, the opposites, the yin and yang of life, in order to create equilibrium and true health of mind and body. And I'd like to quote from an interview I did with Mr. Stephen Brown, who's an Asian medicine expert, and I'm paraphrasing here. He told me that the male energy principle and the female energy principle, yang and yin, follow each other. This is the natural order of things, he says, and when this order is not followed, things will begin to deteriorate. Health will begin to deteriorate without these following themselves in natural order and blending of themselves naturally. So, looking at this from the point of view of a natural way of taking care of oneself, hopefully I've convinced you or enticed you to look at your creative power in taking care of your health. You're a well open audience, an audience that's inquisitive and flexible. The occasion was a good occasion to share this information. I'm a speaker who has a background in health and fitness and wellness. And the speech that I gave just outlined some very simple tools that people can consider and look into immediately. And I hope I've kind of convinced you to maybe look at things from a different point of view, a more empowering type of view. And in closing, I'd like to say and read, with so much technology in our lives and the bountiful blessings of our capitalistic system, we've managed to cut ourselves off at the knees from our primordial roots of simply being human. So much of the wondrous information and miraculous functioning of the body is being lost to inner and outer activities and objects that distract us from listening to and truly being ourselves. The good news of this is that there's always hope. As long as someone has breath in their body and blood flowing through their veins, they can make incredibly positive changes in their health, well-being, and happiness. Thank you.